Burnout, this word, you can think of it as a pill that sooner or later you'll have to swallow. This pill is the acceptance of the fact that you are human, not a robot. Let's talk a bit about this. Burnout is mental exhaustion. Your brain gets tired. For example, if you lift something heavy, after a while you get tired, and it becomes hard to lift it again unless you rest. If you run for 2 hours, you'll get tired, and it will be difficult to keep running unless you rest. The same goes for the brain. If it keeps working for a long time, it gets exhausted. It can't keep going without rest. The problem with burnout is that it's something vague for us as humans. We don't really understand it, and we don't know exactly how it works. Ask anyone about physical fatigue, and they'll know right away that you need to rest after effort. Even someone who never studied, who lived in the mountains, knows this instinctively. But burnout, it's mysterious, and most people don't pay attention to it. And since it's related to the brain already, one of the most complex things in existence, it's even harder to grasp. Even science itself still doesn't fully understand burnout. There are many theories, many opinions, but what's certain is this: burnout is real. It happens to most people. It's affecting entire generations. And if you've been following me for a while, you know the fastest way to solve any problem is to first be aware of it. Now, let's break it down. When you do any action, studying, working out, working at, requires effort. That effort can be divided into two: physical effort, like running, lifting weights; mental effort, like convincing yourself to get out of bed, put on your clothes, pick up your laptop, and start studying or working. That mental effort is like a hidden battery inside your brain. At first, the battery is full. You're excited, you go to the gym the first week, the second week, the third week, no problem. But that battery starts draining little by little, until one day it's empty. And that's when you start with excuses. I don't have time. Maybe later. I'm too tired. This is burnout. It can happen in studying, working, or any activity. You feel drained, no motivation, bored, and just wanting to stop. Why does this happen? Because you don't know how to manage that mental battery. Here's an example. At the start of a new year, people make resolutions. Someone says, "This year, I'll go to the gym." First 3 weeks, they're motivated. But then, little by little, the battery empties, and they stop. This is how burnout happens. When an action turns into a routine, anyone can read a book for 1 hour if you tell them to. No problem. But ask them to do it every day, again and again. And one day they won't be able to. Their mental battery for that routine will run out. So the first step to overcoming burnout is to understand yourself. Are you really burnt out? Or do you just not like what you're doing? Maybe you think you're too tired to study, but in reality, you just don't enjoy studying. Maybe you think you're too tired to work out, but in reality, you just don't like working out. Maybe you hate your job, and that's why you can't find energy for it. It's easy to say, "I'm tired. That's why I'm not doing it." It's easy for me to tell you, yes, you're tired, don't worry. But let's be real. If you haven't truly sat down, focused, and worked, don't tell me you're burnt out. Be honest with yourself. Now, let me explain how burnout usually happens. Often, you're sitting there, and an idea comes. I want to start YouTube. Or, I want to start working out. Or, I want to start reading books. When you decide to start something new, your brain says, "Okay, this guy wants to do something, let's fill up his battery," so he has the motivation. But what your brain doesn't understand is that this isn't just a one-time action, it's a routine. So when you join the gym, your brain thinks he'll go once or twice. It doesn't realize you mean to go 3 times a week for the rest of your life. That's why at first, you're on fire, you train 5 days a week. You watch your diet. Your whole life revolves around the gym, because the battery is full. But when it empties, excuses start appearing. I don't have time. It's too hard. I don't have money for food. This stage, that's burnout. And the problem is, when you stop, your brain links the gym, or studying, or working, with something difficult and unpleasant. So even after you recover, it becomes really hard to start again. In short, burnout happens when you push yourself into an action with too much initial excitement. Then you crash, stop, and struggle to return. The dangerous part is when it happens with important things, like your exams, your work, or your career. Then, even though you're exhausted, you're forced to keep going, and your productivity drops massively. So, what's the solution? Here's the golden advice of this whole video. Learn to rest. Force your brain to rest, even if it doesn't want to. When you start the gym, don't go 5 times a week, just 2 or 3. Train for an hour or 90 minutes, then go home. When you start studying, don't study 8 hours from day one. Start with 1 to 2 hours. Later, after a month, you can increase it slowly, because by then you've built the habit. Most people are better off training just 3 times a week, and every 21 days taking 1 to 2 full rest days. So, learn to rest. Learn to go slowly. And most importantly, learn to force yourself to rest, even when you don't feel like it. That's the real key to avoiding burnout. See you next time.